Good evening, everybody. This is old Grandpa coming to you, old Granddaddy here, and got Grandma here helping me. I'm going to try to give another little visit to all of you that tune in to us here. And again, I apologize for the curtain, but it is going to come down shortly. I hope to have some of my smaller grandchildren here one day to be with me when we take it down. Maybe introduce you to one or two of those, and kids are precious children to me. I got started last time. I think we talked about aunts and aunts and aunts. It's kind of like old Granddad used to say, everybody's got a way and everybody's way works some way. But what I want to finish up on tonight before I run out of time again is the story about Aunt Ethel and the dove shoot. I was just a teenage boy. Don't even remember whether I had a driver's license or not, because I can't remember learning to drive. Back then, we more or less just started driving when there was a need and we were big enough to reach the pedals. Just one of them natural things that were done back in the country. But anyway, one of my uncles, one of my mother's brothers, he used to love to hunt and fish, and he called me one night and said, "We're gonna shoot some birds out there at Uncle A's place. They're behind the house tomorrow afternoon. You're gonna come shoot with us." Said they had some cows turned down on them, some old, I think it was some old millet and sorghum planted out there. Anyway, a lot of bird feed on the ground. And they lived on a big place there up in northern Florida, and it was about, I don't know, an hour's drive from where I was at. But loved a good dove shoot, always did, and I don't even really remember what day of the week it was. But anyway, most of my dove shooting was either on a day when the weather had us messed up, and of course they, well, you can't shoot birds in bad weather, but you might not want to, but some of the best dove shoots I ever had was in freezing rain. And so just depends on when they hit in there, and you know, especially when old migratories come in, they really wrap a field up. He said that they really had a bunch of birds hit in there, and he'd asked them about shooting out there right behind their house there. And I didn't go up there a whole lot, but I told him, yeah, I'd love to go shoot with them, and so we got up there that afternoon, and there was my uncle, myself, and two or three others there. I don't remember who was there. Not many. It was a little field. It wasn't but about seemed like maybe a 10, 12 acre patch there. Woods all the way around it on two sides, and a big road up, fence row on the other side, and then a big pasture seemed like, or something else, another big field or something on the other side there. But those birds were after that stubble in there where them cows would eat up and knock down that grain. And Aunt Ethel and them had a house there that had that a lot of them did back then, had a back porch with a screen all the way down it and windows. And like everybody did, I guess, had them old screen doors, and when you opened them, and you closed them, they slapped shut. Had them old spring-loaded hinges on. And we didn't know it. We'd been out there for a good little while and had shot some birds, and nobody was doing anything illegal. We hadn't killed too many birds yet, and everybody had a hunting license. Nobody thought much about game wardens. I don't know if anybody ever even seen a game warden in there or not, that close to the house, right there in the backyard, you might say. And after a while, we seen this fella come walking up from the woods down there just a little ways off to where the road went at the far end of the field. And we was, at that time, most of us was up there towards the upper end of the field there on some higher ground, right close to the house, not very far from the house. I mean, plenty far enough to be safe in shooting, but you know, shotguns, but we was closer to the house than we was to the middle of the field. And like I say, it was a small patch. And got to watch him. He come on up there, got a little closer, we seen it was a game warden, young fella. And of course, you know, there was a time when a game warden was something that people wasn't used to having around. You know, a game warden ain't something that's always been there. That was something they started. I don't know. I don't ever remember much about having to deal with game wardens until probably the mid-'60s, maybe early '60s, or they just might not have had much business down there in our part of the country because it was so sparsely populated. I don't know. But anyway, this young man come across there and he got up there where we was at and started checking people's guns and licenses and, you know, looking at the birds and whatnot. And he wasn't giving nobody a hard time, just as nice as he could be. And he'd been there just a minute or two with us. And about that time we heard that screen door slap shut. Here come Aunt Ethel with an apron on. She'd been sitting up there shelling some black-eyed peas. Back then, it was quite common for people to grow what they call a fall crop of peas. And them black-eyed peas, if you plant them after the first full moon in August, and things went right, they didn't make much of a bush, but they make a lot of peas. And she had her some fall peas, and she was shelling peas. And she had that apron on, and she come stomping out there. She got out there to that fence and hollered at him and said, "Who are you?" Now, I'm not going to say it just like she said it, because Aunt Ethel, bless her heart, she was a good woman. Worked hard. You couldn't ask for nobody no better. If she told you something, that's the way it was. But now, she didn't hide her feelings, and she didn't pick no soft words for you. You know, if you was grown folks, you could hear it all. And she could, when she got ready, she could curl the hair on the sailor's back. I mean, she could do it now. And anyway, she went to giving that boy a little information about that was her land, and he better get off of it. She didn't send for him, and she didn't want him out there bothering her kinfolks. And she said they could be there, and they could be there. And he needed to go somewhere else. He said, "Well, ma'am, I'm authorized to be anywhere that there's anything going on to do with anything with the, you know, the game and fish department, natural resources." She said, "Well, I'm telling you right now, you better be getting out of here quick as you can." He said, "Well, I'll be through here in a minute." She said, "No, you through now." And of course, we stand there just listening and looking at one another. You know, we knew her, and a couple of us, you know, kind of snickered a little bit. And she said, "I'm fixing to go in this house and get my shotgun. You better be on your way out of this field when I get back to this fence right here, or I'm gonna move you." And she didn't even turn around and look at him no more. She stomped back off to that house, and she opened that screen door. And he looked at my uncle and he said, "That old woman won't shoot me, will she?" He said, I don't think, but I don't know." He said, "But by God, I wouldn't be standing here when she gets back, I can tell you that." And he said, "Well, I see you boys all right." So he went on. He had sense enough to know not to escalate a problem and not make a bad situation worse. But sure enough, about the time she had time to get back in the back of the house and get her shotgun, she come back out there. By then he was near about back halfway out going out the field in, but he went on, and you know, sometimes there won't be nothing if you don't start nothing. And she could have got, you know, we all could have got in some bad trouble. And of course, most of us was just looking for a hole to get in somewhere. You know, didn't know what was going on. But anyway, that was the bird shoot at Aunt Ethel's. I thought a lot of Aunt Ethel. Some people thought she was a little coarse and a little bit mean, but she wasn't. I never will forget when I was just a little bitty thing. I don't know, I might have been, I don't know, 6, 7 years old. Don't remember what year it was, but it had a pretty good snow down there in North Florida. And sometime just prior to that, our home had burned. And back then, you know, family was all anybody had, and there wasn't nobody with no agency gonna come see about you and nothing else. You've done the best you could do. So Daddy, he started making arrangements to build us another house. And of course, as soon as he got it, what he called dried in, we moved into it. And I got some more stories I can tell you about that growing up. And I think it'll give a lot of people a lot of things to think about. And I know there's been people through the same situation during those same times, and they can appreciate some of the things I'm going to describe about the story building and moving into the new house in the cold weather. But had a pretty good snow that year, which was uncommon in that part of the country. And of course, we'd go stay with one family member for a while, another family member for a while, another. And so we wound up, I think seemed like it was about 2 weeks. I don't remember. Couldn't tell you for sure. Like I said, I was just a youngin', but Aunt Ethel was mighty precious, mighty sweet to us, and took good care of us there while we was there. And at that time, all their family was grown and out, and she wasn't used to having a house full of little youngins. And so I know we had to been trying her nerves probably, but she was mighty sweet through it all and took good care of us, and we really did have some good times there those few days. And you know, that was back when family took care of family, and never will forget her for all that. A lot of good cooking. She was like a lot of those women those days, mighty good cook. And Aunt Ethel was a lot like my mama. You know, until you got to know her, you'd think she was kind of rough and mean, but not a bigger heart in the world.